My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. This is P.O.C. All right, this is the military that's engaging in what is hiding in the clouds. First of all, it's very pathetic. And they're doing that in addition to what is the ongoing cartwheels and U-turns right above the City Hall Senior Center area as I begin documenting the criminal monitoring conduct stalking by the employees of this is City of Ontario Convention Center. That's the Page One Cafe attached to the library. The convention center where they hold, by the way, where you take the California bar. The California bar that I sat for, where they were monitoring me at the same time, by the way, the convention center, the city of Ontario is engaged in criminal monitoring with the U.S. military, and they're in there. And you'll see in the images that I took, Robert is his name. He parks his vehicle here, his sedan. They're unloading with Securitas, and they're coming back and forth and back and forth and back and forth in the engineer light, while the demons of the military are flying plane after plane. It was approximately 4 planes doing so at around 6:15 a.m. in this engineered light, which is impossible light activity. They're monitoring, and this is the entity that's engaging in that while they are engaged in the pattern of conduct. So this is where you'll see that light activity. This is impossible light activity. Under the fake sun, it's engineered light. Nothing is normal. They're not walking around. They're pacing all around monitoring. And they are obviously doing it when the idiots of the military are stalking in an obvious manner. It's conspicuous that the entity is not, what are the military plans for it? Automatically draws attention. I'm pointing these things out because this is a corrupt entity. So I'm pointing this out to people that are not a part of this and that are prosecuting it and are providing justice, and to identify it throughout the country and what this United States does in other parts of the world, terrorizing people. It is currently 6:30 a.m. Convention Center is the city of Ontario as well. They're gang stalking me, doing so with Securitas while they were loading and unloading. It's psychopathic pacing in the engineer light where the military is stalking me, and that's the commercial airline companies stalking me. And this evidence is going to be used to prosecute the employees of these commercial airline companies. They are liable, and there is a direct nexus regarding the criminal activity that I'm subject to using those planes in order to disguise, which is no disguise, but in order to disguise the military, the gang stalking police departments, etc., that are stalking in planes and helicopters throughout the cities. This is what they're doing in Ontario. It's currently 6:31 a.m. They're inside a Page 1 Cafe gang stalking. P.O.C. All right, this is stalking by the people of the state. License plate, co-conspirator of murder. License, GRG, GKG, and they work at Ovid Family Community Library. Very likely the effeminate, flamboyant Sean Thrasher or an associate of him, but I've documented that license plate over the years. GRG, GKG works at Ovid Family Community Library, and they're stalking. Okay, they are meeting right here at the intersection where the light activity is. That's the city of Ontario, conspiring together, engaging in coordinated stalking, where you know the military is relying on that by stalking and flying over a senior citizen complex and doing that. This is going to be a very simple and non-complex prosecution. The employees at the Ovid Family Community Library are going to prison. This is P.O.C. While the entity is stalking me, they're going to continue stalking. You already know that they're hovering just like this, west of this location over the Stater Brothers parking lot. And guess where they're going at Stater Brothers, all the employees there, they're going to prison. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6:41 a.m. Hey, Miss Alyssa, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm fine. Just P.O.C. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Alrighty. It is currently 3:57 p.m. This is called stalking in the path. Not coincidentally, walking in alignment with me and in the scientifically impossible environment. The fake sun is over the same building that it was this morning, where the entity is maintaining an environment. This is psychopathic pacing. These are a group of demons, and they're all stalking. While they don't look at you, don't talk to you, but you're looking at the pattern of conduct. This is indeed the P.O.C., and this is massive surveillance by those over and under majority, sharing in mental illness, sharing in sexual violence, corporate invasion of privacy, and psychopathic sexually violent behavior. The employees are going to prison for it. This is where the fake sun is at in the morning when I'm walking in at 10 o'clock. And it's in this window. This is the same window that it's at 5 p.m. This is the same building when I'm standing outside at the entrance and I'm walking in before 10 o'clock in the morning. This is the pattern of conduct, and Elizabeth is a gang stalker. She's engaged in ongoing psychological torture, harassing me while she's keeping my evidence under surveillance as it's published online. She's also engaged in what is threatening me by engaging in a harassing manner because of her hostility toward being prosecuted as a sex offender, engaging in sexual violence and furtherance of murdering me with the military that are flying over this library, stalking me along with her. Okay, this is the pattern of the evidence all over the circulation desk where Elizabeth is working. They're going to prison. Alrighty, this is the Upland Public Library, by the way. The entity is maintaining the fake sign over the Ontario Ovid Family Community Library yesterday. They're in the evidence. They're literally in it. And it's also the evidence regarding mental instability. So the behavior, the ongoing harassment, the ongoing harassing environment, the coordinated conduct with the military. This is the evidence that's going to result in what is involuntary commitments. This is the P.O.C. And this is, again, hostile lesbians that are engaging in what is more criminal activity, harassment, while they are exposed as vagina monitors. Okay, this is the prosecution of Adam. Everything happening here is putting Adam Tuckerman in federal prison. Everything. This is P.O.C. It's 3:59 p.m. It is currently 6:25 p.m. and I remain at what is the Upland Public Library, and the totality of circumstances are what you are always mindful of and cognizant of, and this is both to the witnesses who are seeing the U.S. government, seeing the people of the state, witnessing demon possession being exposed even through tangible evidence, even through a federal court case, a prosecution, which is a testimony to Christ Jesus, who is coming back in judgment. The entity is engaging in what is gang stalking, and they're also doing so, which is inspiring, if you will, the ongoing course of conduct, the violent behaviors, which is criminal activity pursuant to psychological torture, meaning the entity is gang stalking you with light, stalking you with noise, and physically stalking you. You are there and you are stalking. The entity is doing so pursuant to what they are monitoring on the device, and it's legally relevant that they're monitoring evidence. This is the entity that is inside of the same venue where Elizabeth is working, and after 6 p.m., I'm capturing evidence of engineered light, because it couldn't possibly be sunlight when the sun is over her place of work at 10 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning. Elizabeth is already exposed as a state actor who is sharing in the ongoing psychological torture, that which exceeds harassment, that which is in furtherance of murder, that which is serving the purposes of criminal defamation. This is the entity that's engaging in conduct, and that includes Elizabeth, while the entity is maintaining an ongoing course of amplified audible activity while they are closing these old crusty wooden doors. It is amplified in volume. In fact, it's so loud while I listen to content that would ordinarily not be interrupted, if you will, with the blaring sound of a door slam. That those are the demons that are targeting, okay? And the demons are also coming into the library to target me with state actors such as Elizabeth, okay? This is an entity that's engaging in that because these are, in other words, stalkers who wanted to get away with murder, and so they are engaging in what is ongoing gang stalking and furtherance of murdering me, which they're not going to accomplish, but they're still gang stalking to date while they're hostile about the evidence that is systematically published. So you are always mindful of what it is that I'm publishing, and what you will see on the internet today on June 8th, 2026. It is 6:27 p.m. and there are videos published regarding what is April 26, 2026. And as I maintain ongoing stream of evidence that I publish online, I'm subject to ongoing violence, psychologically harmful. It is also sexually violent. It is also relevant to what are stalkers, including stalkers that are under no circumstances protected and they are fully exposed. And that includes those that have what is the pattern of conduct underway by virtue of place of employment. That are the people of the state that are maintaining surveillance as they work in the city. That's the facilitating venue as they work at, for example, what is the library that is gang stalking by virtue of very clear evidence. Elizabeth works under a fake sun that sits over the roof where she's working for over 9 hours. She's going to prison, okay? The entity is engaging with its documentation and the evidence that is meaning I don't have to sit up and record, in other words, and no ordinary target individual is going to be looked at and ever mistaken and defamed, criminally defamed by the government. where they are claiming that they are being inundated, harassed, tortured, tormented with extraordinarily loud noises all the time. They can't sleep, they can't think, they can't function. They're not even sure where the noises are coming from, et cetera, et cetera. All the ways in which the demons are tormenting the targeted individual while they are engaging in demonic activity. And they are premising that on this is all a natural environment and you're imagining everything. That's psychologically torturous conduct that Elizabeth and the entity are sharing in. And it's amplified audible activity with regard to the volume. And the evidence of it is not someone having to sit up and record for 8 hours while you're inside of the library, while no one wants to listen to that in the first place. I have engaged in documentation to that degree, but you do not have to do that. The fact of the specific environment, which is proven through the engineer light and the fake sun, the fact that the employees are idiotic enough to stand there as though they're very serious on the paperwork that they're staring at with their big goggles on, while they're looking like they're engaging in what is a serious meeting in the middle of the Upland Public Library on the first floor, and all you have to do is look at what's on the ground beside them and you will see the impossible light activity of the staircase that is standing upright above them, and it is flat on the ground, and it is encompassed within the shape of the window that's on the ceiling and the shadow of that staircase. That's all manner of leveled layers of impossible light. And it's also at the hour, what is in the evening, where that fake sun is present at the start of their shift at 10 a.m., or at least when it's open to the public. And it's impossible light activity under both bases. This is the entity that's engaging in mentally ill behavior while they focus on psychologically torturing someone else who is federally prosecuting them in order to have them committed so that they cannot torture other people and cause them to engage in suicidal ideation while they spiritually attack you, and you don't know what it is that is actually going on. This is how the government is levying war, and it becomes legally relevant, and it also becomes that which is entirely provable in the specific environment. And this is evidence regarding what the entities engage in while I've been publishing evidence regarding April 26th, Elizabeth and all the rest of her demonic co-defendants who are aiding in how much time Elizabeth is getting in prison. They're not accomplishing anything. Elizabeth is going to prison under all circumstances. It doesn't matter how many years is she getting. And while I maintain my evidence speaking to the specific environment, while the entity stalks me to and from the Upland Public Library, while you know what the vagina monitors are doing at the Ovid Family Community Library later when I get back to Ontario, Elizabeth is going to prison. Okay, and the entity's been maintaining an ongoing chorus while monitoring of the ongoing evidence. By the way, what you hear in the background is that which is not going to be amplified to the degree to where it's interfering with what you're listening to. And it's also amplified because when the cowards are looking at me and I'm standing right in front of them, the doors don't make any sound. And you already know that they're cowards. I've shown you the cowards that they are. This is demonic activity. So I've shown you the physical, the carnal, what the demon possessed are doing in plain view. And I've shown you how you are also looking at what is beneath the surface. You are looking at the sun, but you're also looking at it not going anywhere. So you are both looking at the physical, it's there, and you're looking at them engage in demonic activity right in front of your face. And while the entity engages in what is audible activity creation in the background, Elizabeth is going to prison. They're under all circumstances engaging and admittedly engaging in criminal activity because they are psychotic. And those that are psychotic and cannot control their rage are going to be committed, where they will be given a battery of tests and put under medication so that they can control themselves and not be a threat to the public like they are now. This is the entity that is under all circumstances harming itself, okay? But nonetheless, the entity is engaged in what is ongoing amplified audible activity, which is psychologically harmful to me, and I will be enforcing my rights in that regard. This is the government that's engaging in surveillance through the purposes of a city library that's engaged in nothing other than criminal activity, and they're also engaging in what is providing terrorists paychecks in order to do so. They're highly unintelligent, and this is the same identical pattern of conduct. This is the P.O.C. It's currently 6:32 p.m., and this is evidence of what you will see during the 6 p.m. hours in possible light. I captured it on the ceiling, and you're looking at a bunch of psychopaths who stare as though they're ignorant about what it is that's being documented, because that's their role. And while they play that role, they're being identified as the mentally ill. They're being identified, those are the same ones. You can look as stoic as you want. You can look as ignorant as you want, oblivious as you want. Everyone knows that this is the same entity that stalks me with impossible light. They're targeting and they're stalking. They do so under a fake sun. They're targeting and they're stalking, and they do so with the U.S. military. They're targeting and they're stalking, and they're demons doing so. And this is showing another venue where the demon-possessed are maintaining an entire society that's keeping us under surveillance. And this is in the United States of America, unfortunately. But this is for your benefit, because these demons in California are going to be subject to what is martial law. This is P.O.C. at 6:33 p.m. It is 7:02 p.m. and so this is documentation regarding the detailed, coordinated conduct of sex offenders. Sex offenders engaging in surveillance at the entrance doors of the Upland Public Library to engage in stalking. Gang stalking is occurring through what is surrounding you, and it's very threatening conduct, while mentally ill, violent sex offenders engage in what is stalking in the bathroom and also stalking at the entrance doors, which is what the city of Upland is engaging in via the demons who are the people of the state. They're engaging in this conduct with, which is vagina monitoring. The sex offender is in the bathroom stall. The sex offender, Elizabeth, is in relevant position at the circulation area. The sex offender, Laura, is on the first level where you enter in engineer light, which I capture inside of the Upland Public Library, which has an extraordinary covering over the door. It's impossible light activity, speaking to the fact that vagina monitoring and stalking by everybody in that venue and under the fake sun, which also makes it impossible light activity, aside from the position, the location of that light, where sex offenders who are vagina monitoring on behalf of the government, that's also stalking in a white plane, which I captured over the roof of the Upland Public Library. It's 7:02 p.m. You'll see the images of what are males. I want to be clear, demons don't have a gender. Okay, demons are not men and women and girls and boys. Demons are dark, perverted, and mentally ill spirits that possess the people of the state who do have genders and who are being categorized with regard to their criminal activity that is homosexual in nature, predatory in nature, perverted in nature, and criminal under all circumstances. And it's all state action. The Upland Public Library is a bathroom that is under surveillance by the males and the females that are sharing in surveillance with the government that's flying over the Upland Public Library at 450 North Euclid Avenue. Understand that Bill Velto at 460 North Euclid Avenue, the Upland City Hall, is sharing in the egregious sex offense that is committed preceding murder by the government. He's sharing in what is vagina monitoring, while the fake sun is captured, and the entity is stalking, which is proven through the scientific evidence of the fake sun remaining over the same address, and the entity that's in the bathroom stall engaging in what is stalking conduct, which is very disturbed and perverted and demonic activity. Okay, that which is demonic activity is that which is going to be used regarding committing or having the entity involuntarily committed, and that which is in need of martial law. And these are the sex offenders that are worshiping my vagina. Okay, this is the entity that's engaging in that, and this is the city venue, the city of Upland, which keeps a fake sun along Euclid Avenue and follows me back into Ontario, where the same ongoing ceaseless pattern of conduct remains underway. And this is how you know that the entity is a sex offender, and that the employees of Upland Public Library are being documented, and they are going to prison while I'm in Ontario, and the same military is stalking me by helicopters and planes all night long. They're going to prison. All right, and what I'm showing, what I'm proving, and what the evidence, what the entity is literally giving is the necessity of martial law, the necessity of loss of minor children, the necessity of involuntary commitments, the necessity of what is a federal prosecution as not just terrorists, but domestic terrorists that are violent sex offenders, which will forever change the trajectory of their life. And this is the entity that's engaging in that conduct. Gang stalking is an exceedingly violent sex offense, and the entity is doing so as a population, including with their demon-possessed, that is minor children that are violent sex offenders, keeping your vagina, keeping your genitalia, in other words, whatever gender you are, under surveillance. Okay, so these are, again, demons don't have ages. Their children are monitoring spirits. They're monitoring in bathrooms. They create audible activity pursuant to monitoring you. They do this under the guise of being little babies and it's cute. No, they're monitoring your genitalia, and they're doing it in the specific environment and on behalf of the government that is relying on that illusion that you're looking at a child that's just being obnoxious with regard to crying incessantly or running back and forth. They're monitoring you. And the demon-possessed people of the state who are monitoring your vagina, engaging in what are sex rituals pertaining to your genitalia, engaging in what is chasing down and ravaging through the trash to consume your bodily fluids, stalking you in bathroom stalls, are intentionally using children in that regard as well. Anything to engage in what is making sure that what's between your legs is kept under surveillance, and that's exceeding the language of the federal stalking statute. The entity is not merely interested in keeping your devices under surveillance, they're keeping your very anatomy under surveillance. And that is the inhumane feature regarding the demons that are gang stalking, and they will be broken down and locked down regarding martial law. All right, this is the P.O.C. It is 7:06 p.m. The fake son remains at the Upland Public Library, and so does the entity that is stalking in the bathroom stall. And that presence, the presence in the bathroom, the presence in the library, the presence at the entrance doors is pertaining to what is obsession. So the demon with the hat on, he's walking around, he's patrolling. That's what that's called. This is literally somebody that is engaging in what is not only surveillance, but he is guarding. This is a demon that's engaging in what is making sure that they're covering all the grounds, going back and forth. This psychopathic pacing is what it is, but this is referred to as what is patrolling. All right, and they're doing so on behalf of a whole entity that's sharing in surveillance with them. And everything that happened in the bathroom is a means of what is invasion, corporate invasion of privacy, which again, Elizabeth is going to prison for. The sex offense of gang stalking is an act of terrorism, and it is preceding murder, and it is committed by an entity, and you're going to prison for it. It is currently 7:07 p.m. This is P.O.C.